You know, sometimes as YouTubers, people get the impression that we embellish things, that we go over the top for attention, to seek the views from people just so that they look at our video and say, oh man, that crazy reaction, I gotta share this with other people because that guy was just going crazy, or that girl was just bananas about what just happened there. It's insanity. But in this case, after watching that Battletoads gameplay from IGN that took place over in Germany at Gamescom this weekend, it's bad. Like, really bad. So bad, in fact, that it might be the worst beat-em-up game ever. Like, maybe not gameplay-wise, because I'm sure a lot of work's going into this, but based off of hopes and expectations going into the next Battletoads game and facing the reality of what it actually looks like, it has a good chance of being that game. The biggest failure of all time when it comes to beat-em-ups. What were they thinking with this? It's like slow motion. I can't even watch it without feeling like my eyes are stuttering. It's like watching a turd slide downhill, but stuttering as it does it. It's just not a good look by any stretch of the imagination whatsoever. This is an embarrassment to gaming. Now, yes, I initially was hesitant when they unveiled it the first time at E3 and I saw the characters and I was like, huh.
I'll be honest, I mean, the graphics kind of make me feel, it feels like a second tier game. It doesn't feel like what I was thinking Battletoads is going to be. That was a little bit of a letdown.
Not exactly what I was expecting the graphics to be, but I'll give it a chance because, you know, I've been proven wrong before. A lot of people had been proven wrong with how graphics look compared to how a game plays. I mean, just look at Wind Waker for that example, Exhibit A. Unfortunately for Battletoads, the graphics and the cartoony look that it gives the viewers, just scratching the surface of the issues that I have with this game. As for watching the game in action, I'm starting to wonder, as a former game tester, mind you, I worked at Sony Online for over 2 years testing video games, looking at what they just put out as an abomination for people to play is a gigantic yikes. If I was on the testing team of this, I would be running straight to the dev, I'd be running to the lead after some smoke tests and saying, guys, this is not a good enough product to put out there. We need to go back to the drawing board because it's a stuttering mess. How can we move forward with this and show it to the public and hope that they enjoy it when it gives me a headache after watching 5 frames of it? I couldn't imagine playing through the entire game and having it stutter like this as I'm talking to you. It's just not any way that anybody wants to watch a YouTube video. Okay, that might be exaggerating it just a little bit, but that's just a little bit. Honestly, it's not too far off from the reality. Like, how could they do this with such limited animations? It's like they're blocky when they're trying to walk. They do one of these things instead of some fluidness to it. Now, I understand it's a cartoon. I understand it's not the typical game. It's going for its own unique flavor. And it's giving me what feels like an epileptic seizure by watching the stuttering on the screen as you play it. That's not a good thing when it comes to a game that you're supposed to be enjoying and playing and beating up bad guys and playing it with your buddies. And maybe it's going to have online and great, but how could you even play it for more than 3 seconds without feeling sick? Let's add some more animation cells to this, make it a lot more fluid, make the animation feel a lot more realistic, make it feel like the user who's playing the game isn't going to be stuttering everywhere they walk. It's insanity that they move forward this as a public demo to show off at Gamescom. That, like I said, is a gigantic yikes. From somebody who's worked in the video game industry, it's an embarrassment to put a product like this out to the public in the condition that it's in. It's one of those situations where you hold off, we're not ready yet, we need to delay this, we need to fill in a few of the gaps to make sure it fits the expectations and hopes and dreams of how many years it's been since the last legitimate Battletoads game. I've been looking forward to a new Battletoads game for it feels like forever, and to see this is just so disheartening that it makes me not even want to play the game. I could only imagine if it releases in the shape that it's in right now, what the review scores for it will be, how reviewers would even play it for more than 5 seconds without getting sick themselves. It's disgusting, and that is not an overreaction. Watch the footage for yourself. Tell me if you don't think that this is bad. It's stuttering, it's slow, it feels like choppy animation from an old NES game, except there's too many enemies on the screen so everyone's moving too slow the entire time. Even look at the YouTube video that IGN posted, and the likes and dislikes are way out of whack. Everybody sees it as a game that is not meeting the expectations that a lot of gamers have had for a very long time, going into a beloved franchise that Battletoads is. Now, maybe they'll update it and fix it before it releases, but based off of what the gameplay looks like, they're going to need to do a lot of work to fix the issues with it right now. I don't know what Delilah Studios is going to do. They're working alongside Rare on making this title come to fruition. In case you're wondering what they've made before, they worked on mobile physics-based adventures. So yeah, this developer is a mobile phone developer working on a console game, and it looks like a jacked up mobile phone game without enough animation cells to flush out the full product, to make it look fluid, to make it feel right as a realistic brawler in a cartoon world. Something like how Cuphead does things. And then you compare that to Battletoads, and it's two different worlds. And while this Battletoads game does not have a confirmed release date yet, it is supposedly set to release sometime this year in 2019. That's not enough time to really rework everything unless they put a major delay on this. So as it stands right now, yikes. The modern video game era is turning me into such an old man while making these rants and these video games. I'm gonna need to go get a cane to shake it at the camera and say, back in my day, these games were good. We didn't have to worry about crap like this happening. Even though that's not true, there are plenty of crap games back when I was growing up. But looking at this situation with Battletoads, it's not just the janky graphics that are bouncing all over the place, hemorrhaging my brain, but in addition to that, the level layout. It's just plain. You just walk through, beat up guys, move across the screen, beat up guys, continue, rinse and repeat the same formula over and over again. Maybe eventually you'll get to that turbo tunnel where they switch the perspective and you're driving straight on, and okay, cool, maybe that's fun. But then what happens? Does it just go right back to beat 'em up levels where it's just going across a straight line, beating up guys, rinse and repeat? The original Battletoads game got this part right, where you could jump up on the cliffs, beat up guys up there, beat up guys down lower, open up portals to teleport into the next level or skip ahead. Tons of different secrets were in that original Battletoads game. Hopefully they're in this one too. But based off of what it looks like a very vanilla formula. Like they're just spitting out a game because they got hired to make it, not because there's a lot of love and passion there. That is what frustrates me the most about all of this. You can tell by watching the game that it's just very generic. Instead of putting all this money and time into making the Battletoads game, why not just put that into bringing Scott Pilgrim vs. the World into the modern era and let people download that game again? Why are we making this new game if it's going to be inferior to other beat-em-up games that already exist and have existed for many generations before this one? So I guess there's a greater overall concern with this, and that is they're just making this game with the Battletoads characters because they are somewhat iconic in the video game world. People recognize them and they want to play as them. But it's not like back in the day with the original Battletoads, or even Battletoads vs. Double Dragon. It's not like those games. This is just a generic brawler, a generic side-scrolling beat-em-up that's something that clearly is not what we had hoped it would be. This game looks like it's going to be more fluff, just building off of the name of a brand franchise that's been established instead of an actual quality experience that people will be looking forward to. Hopefully I'm wrong. I will still keep an open mind, but just watching footage and feeling sick in the first 5 frames of it, and then watching through even more of it and seeing it not improving and just feeling like this whole experience is going to be shot down the drain because it's not good, I don't have a lot of hope for the future of Battletoads. At least that's how I feel about this situation, but I'd be very interested to hear what you guys think about this. If you watch some of this video, if you feel like it's too janky for the animations, or if you like the unique flavor that it presents to the end user. Maybe some people like a shot-up janky game that has not enough frames per second so that it feels unique? I don't know. It feels very weird to me. I'm going to leave the video right there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing. Smash.